My friend, a wide receiver who has not yet played a single snap in the NFL, just sent a message that is shaking up the entire league. This young man did not call a press conference. He did not go on a famous podcast. He did not fire off a controversial tweet. He picked up a pen, went straight to the point, and put down on paper a declaration that nobody expected to hear before the 2026 NFL Draft. And the most impressive part, he ended the piece with a question that is, all at once, a challenge, a joke about his own story, and the most confident line you are going to hear all season. The Eagles, with the 23rd pick sitting right in Howie Roseman's hands, need to pay very close attention to this. I am going to walk you through the whole story. I will tell you who this player is, what he did, and why Philadelphia might be looking at the receiver they have been missing. But first, if you are an Eagles fan, and you do not want to miss a thing before and during the draft, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel. This story is too good to sit out. The player's name is KC Concepcion. He plays wide receiver for Texas A&M, and on the eve of the 2026 NFL Draft, he published an open letter on the Players Tribune addressed directly to every GM in the NFL. No sugarcoating, no false modesty, none of that standard athlete routine where you try to please everybody. Concepcion went right at it. He is the best receiver in this draft, period. But the letter is not just trash talk, my friend. That is the whole point. That is what separates what KC did from any other athlete talking big before a draft. Because before he lands that declaration, he tells you where he came from. It is a story any sports fan over 50 has seen versions of before, but rarely told with this much honesty. KC Concepcion grew up in Charlotte, but his dad kept going in and out of prison. His mom had to hold everything together on her own. She was raising KC and his younger brothers by herself, and KC, being the oldest, had to grow up fast. He took on responsibilities most kids his age never even think about. And on top of all of that, there was one more thing making every single day harder. KC stuttered. When you are a kid who stutters, your classmates do not go easy on you. He described in the letter what his daily life looked like. The laughter, the blunt questions, the looks. He would come home completely worn down. His mom would try to lift him up. She would tell him to keep his chin up. But the next morning, the stutter was still there, and so were the kids. That went on for years. What saved KC? Two places: the kitchen on weekends and the football field. On the field, nobody cared how he talked. All that mattered was what he did with the ball in his hands. And what he did was dominate. In one regional championship game, still just a kid, he was the star of the entire thing. His mom was in the stands going crazy. And in that moment, something locked in place inside of him. The stutter was not going to define who he was. What he did on the field would. That mindset carried him through high school, then to NC State, and eventually to Texas A&M. There he figured out that he needed to play in the SEC, against the very best, to find out if he was really at the level he believed he was. The answer was yes. In the 2025 season, Concepcion posted 61 receptions, 919 receiving yards, and 10 total touchdowns. Those are solid numbers for any receiver playing in the most competitive conference in college football. According to analysts at A to Z Sports, Concepcion has explosive agility, great yards after the catch, meaning he keeps making plays even after he has the ball in his hands, and the acceleration to separate from defenders deep down the field. He runs precise routes, has reliable hands, and pairs all of that with speed that very few receivers in this draft class can match. The comparison analysts have made is to Rashad Bateman, a complete receiver who can do a little bit of everything on the field. The one area to watch is his size. Concepcion is not a big physical receiver, but the level of explosiveness he brings, according to evaluators, is in a class of its own. So why should the Eagles be looking seriously at KC Concepcion with the 23rd pick? Let me tell you what is going on in Philadelphia right now, because the timing of this story could not be more perfect. All offseason long, one name has been at the center of every conversation about the Eagles' offense: A.J. Brown. The all-pro receiver has had a tense relationship with the franchise following a frustrating 2025 season. Trade rumors have been building since the start of the year. Howie Roseman keeps repeating like a mantra that Brown is an Eagle. But what he has done in the market tells a different story. The Eagles signed Marquise Hollywood Brown in free agency. They signed Elijah Moore, and they made a trade with the Green Bay Packers to bring in Dontayvion Wicks, locking him in with a contract worth $12.5 million. 3 receivers added. None of them is A.J. Brown. ESPN's Adam Schefter made it clear. Every new addition in Philadelphia reinforces the idea that the team is getting ready to move on from Brown. The most likely window for a trade is after June 1st. Before that date, the salary cap hit exceeds $4 Brown. The Eagles' offense leans very heavily on Devonta Smith as the #1 option. And new offensive coordinator Sean Mannion, who, by the way, coached Dontayvion Wicks in Green Bay, is going to need a receiver with the ability to create explosive plays down the field. That was something that was clearly missing from Jalen Hurts' offense in 2025. That is exactly where KC Concepcion fits in. A receiver who can attack every part of the field, who brings the explosiveness the system is asking for, and who arrives with the mindset of someone who has never been the favorite and has always had to prove his worth. Do you really think a guy who survived everything he went through is going to show up at the Jefferson Health Training Complex and take it easy? That is not happening. The Eagles have already shown interest at the position. They hosted 30 visits with several promising wide receiver prospects ahead of the draft. If Brown is traded after June 1st, a first-round receiver becomes even more necessary. And if Brown stays, an explosive receiver alongside Smith and Brown could give Philadelphia, in the words of the analysts themselves, arguably the most dangerous receiver group in the entire NFL. Which brings us back to the letter. Concepcion closes it out like this. He asks whatever GM is reading to put him on their team and get to work together. He says that whoever calls his name is not going to regret it. Not ever. And in the very last line, he uses his own stutter as the perfect final punch. The ultimate narrative twist. He asks in a tone that is pure challenge, "Did I stutter?" No. Not for 1 second. Every single word of that letter was clear, direct, and right on target. That is an athlete who knows exactly who he is. In Philadelphia, after a season full of locker room tension, and an offense that needs to be rebuilt under Mannion, a receiver with that kind of mindset could be exactly the piece Roseman wants to bring home with the 23rd pick. With the Eagles' roster in need of more explosiveness, with A.J. Brown's future still up in the air, and with the 2026 draft just days away, does it make sense to you for Roseman to use pick 23 on a receiver like KC Concepcion? Or should the Eagles target a different position in the first round? Drop your opinion in the comments. Do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I will be back shortly with the latest Eagles news.